Scorpio Sun and Rising. Welcome to your July 2022 Astro Update. It's Raina here. Well, as you know, July is Cancer season. And this means that the Sun is in Cancer at the beginning of the month up until the 22nd. So the first 3 weeks of the month, you have the Sun forming a trine with your Sun or your ascendant. I should say and or your ascendant, because there might be a few of you who also have Scorpio rising. Wow, what kind of people you would be. Pretty memorable, I would say. So because of that, this can often feel like a great time of the year for you when the Sun is in Cancer or when the Sun is in Pisces. You may feel like things go more smoothly. Of course, there are other influences that can affect that. And so we're going to talk about all of these influences. On the 5th of the month, Mars goes into Taurus. And this is your opposite sign. And the opposite house is the 7th house of committed partnership. And this is an area that I think Scorpio people, it might sometimes be stormy for you when it comes to one-on-one relationships, because you are a handful. I mean, a lot of you will proudly admit that. It's not insulting to you for me to say that, I'm sure. You probably just sat up in your chair a little straighter or taller. And Mars is the god of war, so you can do the math there. But it doesn't have to be that. It can be rekindling your sex life with your partner. It can be doing things together, like maybe both of you have been working a lot, and in the Northern Hemisphere, this is the summer, so there's time for vacations, and maybe you're just hiking, especially anything that's very athletic. That could be featured here as well. So it doesn't have to be something bad. It doesn't even have to be your significant other. This can be a situation that has to do with the legal system, because the 7th house is the courtroom action. Mars here is somebody who's coming with receipts, coming for a fight. So that could be something that is consuming your time in July. And one thing to note, if you are not getting along with your partner, it takes two to fight. So if you know that you have Mars here, Mars is one of your rulers, Scorpio, and Pluto is the other one, and both of these are not trips to the beach. So when you have Mars somewhere, your natural inclination may be to just like take off your earrings or something like that. I actually had that happen. I thought that was only on Jerry Springer. That I didn't know that people actually did, or women actually did that. But I lived in a nice little neighborhood, and a suburb of Chicago that started attracting some really classy residents. And one day I went over there because, her child was just like setting off fireworks every day, and this was starting in probably early June, and he was very cooperative, but she was taking offense that I would even dare ask them to do anything about it. And I was polite, I wasn't yelling or anything like that. And she started taking off her earrings and taking off her shoes, I think, and I started whimpering like a little baby, "Please don't hurt me." So anyway, so the thing about it is that there's a lot of emotion that Scorpio feels, and sometimes you may even have a hard time really containing it. Not to say that you're all going to lose your temper, but just that feeling of aggression and sometimes vengeance. That feeling that somebody's getting away with something and that's not fair. They shouldn't do that. So being able to really channel anger in a better way, because the seventh house is the other. And it's tempting sometimes to project anger onto somebody else. But really, when you think about it, if you are angry that somebody isn't doing something that you want them to do, it's really that you have requirements of what people are supposed to do. And while, I mean, in relationships, we do have certain expectations. Ultimately, we can't force somebody to do something, and we want people to do things for us willingly, not under coercion. So keep that in mind when you're dealing with very deep relationships, because that's what these can be about, one-on-one relationships. Are you coming to it too aggressively because of your own needs, and you're not seeing, maybe the other person's going through a rough patch? This could be like a close friendship, that there is this anger that this person hasn't returned your calls. Well, how do you know that they're not suffering in silence about something? So we can't jump the gun, and Mars likes to jump the gun. Mercury, on the same day, Mercury goes into Cancer. So Mercury goes into that ninth house. This is the house of Sag. This is the house that Sag rules. So all things ninth house connect with expansion. For some people, they've always wanted to go to college. They're filling out the paperwork. For some people, they want to become a yoga teacher. They're filling out the paperwork. Or they're researching it. Mercury can be about reading about things. It can be that you are getting your passport in order because you are going to travel. There was a new moon in this sector on June 28th. So that might have been the development of whatever situation is now front and center here. This can be about learning a foreign language. And maybe you're going to travel, like an immersion, to boot, which is the best of both worlds, because you can get a little something vacation-wise along with that. On the 13th, there is a full moon at 21 degrees of Capricorn. This is your third house. Okay, so information. Getting information, finding out about something. The third house can be communication, and the full moon brings something out. Secrets can come out, but like news, maybe it's not being kept. Somebody just never told you. The third house can be siblings. So depending on other factors, if you've been having a lot of problems with siblings, you might finally go, let's call it quits, not interested in continuing this charade. Or you can simply find out something that they have neglected to tell you. You may be finishing some kind of training at this time too. Or if you are a teacher, this could be, if you went and did summer school. I remember when I was a teacher's assistant, I think we ended in July because we did like a summer school that was only like 6 weeks. So it was June and July. So, that's always a possibility. On the 17th, Venus goes into Cancer. So that can be a situation where now you have Venus in the ninth house, romance while you're traveling, romance with a foreigner, money to travel, money to go to school. Maybe that was part of what was going on too, with Mercury in the 8th house, trying to secure a student loan. or something, or maybe it was even a grant. Other people's money. Sorry if you can hear noises outside. I have the window open because it's hotter than the hinges of Hades right now, as my father would say. And truth be told, I'm recording this in the morning, and the heat is a little bit abated, but it's very strange. It seems like now, even late at night, like 11 or 12 o'clock at night, it's still 80 degrees. I don't remember that being the case. Maybe I just didn't realize that, but it seems like excessive, to say the least. But I still haven't put in my air conditioner. I've been holding out. Okay, so let's see. On the 19th, Mercury goes into Leo. So now we're starting to see the migration into that career sector. Mercury in the 10th house, talking to people in positions of authority for whatever reason. One reason could be you're looking for work. Maybe you're doing public speaking. 10th house can be the public. Making a name for yourself. There might be something, like if you are promoting a like book or anything like that, and you're promoting yourself as an author, the 10th house is your public reputation. So whatever title you give yourself would probably fall in the 10th house, and maybe you want to be seen as more of a writer than some other. Maybe you were a teacher, but you want to be seen as a writer, or it could be even teaching. But it's just that teaching doesn't really get a person's name in lights the way writing does. However, if there is some kind of recognition you're receiving for something to do with academia or writing, that could be the case as well. But Mercury can be any mental pursuit. With the Mars in the 7th, if you are getting your bar exam, and now you can call yourself a lawyer, that might be what's going on. On the 22nd, the sun goes into Leo, so you begin to see the professional vibes start to flow in, because this is Capricorn's domain. So it's an earth house. It means that your concerns start to focus on tangible matters. On the 28th, we have a new moon here at 5 degrees of Leo. So new developments with career, and also Jupiter goes retrograde at 8 degrees 43 minutes of Aries. And for you, this is your 6th house. Oh, isn't that interesting? So Jupiter's going retrograde in one of the other Earth houses that has to do with work, your service to others. So I would expect that towards the end of July, Scorpio, you will be really kind of pondering the kind of service that you're doing for others and how it serves you. See? Because if you're not in alignment with something on an ethical level, and Jupiter can be about that, then it's going to be very hard to proceed, and you're going to be of two minds. Your energy will be split, because we have this need to be kind of consistent when we're doing things, kind of consistent in our energy. And when we are pulled in different directions, if one side of you wants to make a lot of money, but another side is like, well, I don't know if this is quite right what I'm doing. Really listen to yourself during this time. New opportunities for work may present themselves to you. don't turn your nose up at them if they are not as grand as whatever it has been offered to you regarding the 10th house, because this could be just a job, but it pays the bills, and it could lead to something else is the point. But if it feels more right on an ethical level, then don't just kind of poo-poo that and think that it's not important to feel good about what you're doing, that's not really a big deal. After all, it's legal, right? I mean, it's not against the law what I'm doing, so why should I feel guilty about it? But it's not necessarily about feeling guilt. It might be feeling discomfort. You could be selling a product that you feel isn't really that good, and you could be totally above board and not doing anything that is wrong per se or underhanded per se. I mean, even what I'm doing here, before I did it, I agonized over it, and I still think about it from time to time. Is this right? Not because I'm holy roller and I just think that it's demonic or anything like that. Okay, cyclist, get the F away from me. But it still, to me, is something that I wrestle with. This idea of, is this really good for people to look at astrology in terms, especially in terms of timing, but even in terms of the natal chart and the positions. I once had a spiritual pen pal, this older woman, and she had to be a Scorpio because I asked her what sign she was, and she sent me back this letter that was full of like so much venom. I mean, well, she was a sweet lady, but she was just so appalled. She's like, I'm no sign. And she didn't want to be defined by signs. And you know what? There's a definite case to be made for that. Aren't we limiting ourselves? Isn't this part of the matrix to talk about the stars? That's part of the material world. That's not our spiritual selves. But I still think that it holds value in terms of getting us to think about seasons of our life and our patterns. I am hoping that I do it in the highest integrity. So all of these things may be coming up for you in whatever way. And so I just want to bring that out. And so there you have it. Oh, and by the way, with Jupiter in the 6th house, you may have had a lot of work. Maybe you've been working a lot lately. Will that slow down when it's retrograde? Maybe, but it could also bring back an opportunity for you that you missed out on before. So it could be a lucky break in reverse. Or, I mean, not, you know what I mean, coming back to you. Okay, Scorpio, that's what I have for you. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a private reading, I'm promoting my double readings, my deep dive readings, an hour of natal chart analysis with an hour of transits for the upcoming year for a special price. I have one with the tarot, a version with chart and tarot called the Whole Enchilada, and I have single standalone readings. I'm at RainaMoonAstrology.com. The link is below. Take care. Bye.